So far, it certainly sounds like this is just another story about unmasking the true hero and bad guy, doesn't it? I mean, by now, everyone is pretty well trained in the blame game, so it tends to be fairly automatic. Even if you just want to heal instead of fight the other side. And it would seem normal to get defensive. I mean, only 20 years before I was born, parents still killed babies who didn't act scared. Opposite instincts truly feel dangerous. The hard truth is, the horrifying institutions that we are now beginning to reform, and the punishing neglect that Generation X endured, are actually a huge improvement on what came before it. Progress really is unimaginably difficult. It's dangerous, it's always full of risk, and it's always being made by people who don't have the big picture, isn't it? I mean, it sounds really extreme, doesn't it? Most people feel loved by their families or they would not survive. I mean, really? Everyone killed kids that didn't act afraid, huh? On purpose, specifically for that reason? Yes, really. I mean, not absolutely everyone, of course not. You can always find opposite realities in practice, absolutely, no matter what. But commonly, yes. The heartless are ruthless. And it's not because they don't care. It's because they feel like they're protecting the last spark of goodness left. They just don't see any other option. Stop to think about all this for a minute. There has been a major war involving large countries, like every 10 years, for everyone born since 1900. It's been a hallmark feature of civilization for at least 6,000 years now. Most modern financial experts actually teach that war is literally the only way our economy can make money, as it's currently set up, of course. The simple fact is, innocent children can't be soldiers, and only soldiers even survived during the Iron Age. Narcissism isn't a huge problem because, people just can't stop themselves from genuinely liking bad things. It doesn't matter whether it's because the world is flawed or God allows it. It's a problem because we really believed we had to repress our feelings and fight to survive. Even though it develops the worst possible instincts. In a world of war, fearless acceptance feels like certain doom. I mean, this is not even anything to get emotional about. It's just, it feels plainly obvious. Nobody wants to hurt their kids. But if you put everything in danger to protect those who can't or won't do what's needed to survive, well then who's responsible for the harm that causes? You or the kid who didn't know any better yet? This is where the horrible idea that responsibility plays the asshole comes from. They were going to care for the kids that, to their mind, wanted to live and hope for the same when they were old. I mean, everybody's got to play the game, right? What feels heartless and ultimately pointless to innocence feels like needed protection to fear, just to wake up tomorrow. It is incorrect to assume that you cannot find any good in the point of view of your enemy. The truth is, everyone is just doing what they feel is needed. It doesn't matter whether we play the hero, the villain, or the victim. And no matter which role we play, we feel good about being hostile in a way that truly seems to feel healthy. We got to look out for ourselves, right? In fact, the more strongly we defend ourselves, the better we feel, because we want to get away from what feels awful. Right up until we realize that, of course, is exactly how innocent kids become the monster, the so-called monster who's honestly happy to see someone else in pain. And this does not get better the older people get. You want to see the worst examples. They're the ones who lasted the longest. When you don't realize how you reap what you sow, it is a life-saving change to start treating others the way you want to be treated, unconditionally. An eye for an eye really does make the whole world blind. Well, there is something to learn from everything. The wisdom, the so-called wisdom of defending your beliefs, is really just the blame game. Nothing works for anyone who plays it. If you respect someone's fears, the results you get are even worse than they got. But if you do nothing more than just innocently try to prove them wrong and take away their power to resist you, your own behavior ends up being even worse than theirs, whether you see it or not, because you stood on their shoulders. And how are you supposed to learn any difference if, what's really running your life is all this unseen programming and no one around you seems to know any better? I mean, intentions just don't seem to matter, no matter what kind of thinking style you use, right? Doesn't matter whether you're working hard or just trying to be a good person, following your heart. It's not that intentions don't matter. We're just developing them with the wrong tool. The blame game is not all there is. Fighting, running, and yielding all fail for the same reason. You can't get rid of what you focus on. Things just get worse no matter what you do. And since they're also getting pushed down, there's going to be explosions that convince even people with the very best intentions that sometimes they just can't help being bad. We absolutely can let this toxic cycle go. Just not by turning a blind eye or by judging it. Every problem really does have a gift in its hands. Bias may get all the facts backwards, but it has a very important job. It protects your belief in your own goodness. Before you understand, you do not need to change what others do to feel better or safe. It even shows you the filters you're using to change what reality looks like, without scaring you by taking your defenses down to do it. And it goes away automatically once you don't need them anymore. Learn to forgive yourself. Understand that you meant well. And bias disappears like smoke. Everyone really is doing the best they can with what they have, even technically when you're not. I mean, who's going to ask more than that? Now, protection isn't a real solution. It's actually the best way to grow problems because it believes cooperation hurts. Kind of a no-brainer, isn't it? Our attitude is the intention that draws the bottom line. It's not all the little things that we try to do. We really do find what we seek. Our attitude builds our physical reality, regardless of what ultimate truth might be, or what others do. When we try to support instead of change the stuff around us, when we learn from mistakes instead of trying to control them, when we appreciate the treasures that problems form, just like pressure creates diamonds, that's when gratitude heals what fear cannot. It can be painful to have to admit we could be dead wrong about what matters most. How can it be fair to do your best and still fail that badly? But it's still freedom. You're not actually failing. You're just getting feedback. The kind that leads to actual solutions. I mean, Not admitting a mistake is a bigger mistake. Trying to stop disaster just makes it worse. Urgency isn't wisdom, it's fear, and you already knew that. Acceptance is what allows us to respond instead of react. Making things happen has never been healthy. Cooperation creates the harmony that force can only dream of. So feel responsible about taking a break, right? It is just as healthy to be pathologically self-forgiving of the mistakes we make when we do force things, just like everyone said we should, too. Not only is it impossible to move past what shame and fear won't let go of, but mistakes are the only way we even can learn any better than whatever we happen to believe. The most valuable thing you can make is a mistake. You can't learn anything from getting it right. You'll never know if you were. Mistakes really are gifts. So maybe we should rename them, eh? Freedom from what we can't even see is a treasure we could never repay. Although life feels we can, we absolutely do pay the world back. Once we finally find the courage to simply be ourselves. Namaste, my angel. I honor the whole you.